So let's go ahead and let's kick off our final segment for the night. And this is going to be the revival of the Advice Corner segment. Now, Advice Corner, once again, is another viewer-generated segment where viewers, my subscribers, my fans, you guys pretty much email me your advice questions, your advice topics. I mean, I've discussed a bunch of different topics for Advice Corner, things from like relationships to school to career goals and things of that nature. So by all means, those of you watching live, please feel free to shoot me a email at otakuassemble@gmail.com. The more in-depth, more detailed email, the better we may be able to serve you guys. And for those of you all watching this on Tuesday, which is when this video will be uploaded separately, by all means, if you're watching this after the fact, please feel free, shoot those emails, otakuassemble@gmail.com. So what I decided to do for the first Advice Corner, bringing the segment back, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to my co-host, Uber Hikari, because Hikari did a video this past week talking about the distinction between reviewers, vloggers, bloggers, things of that nature. For those of you all who have yet to see that video, I highly recommend you all check it out. But after watching that video, it gave me an idea. And so I think it's been a while since I've actually discussed YouTubing, just the act of doing so, the act of creating content and being a YouTuber, uploading videos, running a channel, things of that nature. And the last time I did it, I believe it was a rant where I talked about like my problems with new YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was like back in what, 2011, 2012. It was a while. It was a while ago. So I decided that this time around, I really want to do something more so along the lines of, I want to be able to give tips and advice for people who want to go ahead and strike out on their own YouTube channels. I mean, granted, this could have something to do with my whole personal development bit too, but I really do want to give some positive, constructive feedback. I want to give from 3 YouTube veterans, because I mean, each of us have been at this for at least what? I mean, it's 2017. I started OAW. Yeah, I started OAW up the summer of 2010. So 6.5 years. And I think Ugo, you had your channel before I had mine.
I was just, yeah, I did the math. I had my channel way before you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been at this for a while. Now, granted, we've all taken extensive hiatuses here and there, but for the most part, I mean, we've seen YouTube change so much. Wow. Just in the time that we've been on the website. So I want to go ahead and I want to go around and I want to hear you guys' thoughts to anybody watching the live stream or watching the video after the fact. Anyone thinking about starting up or anyone who's running their YouTube channel now, some tips, some tricks, some advice for the young YouTubers out there. So Hikari, since you were the one who inspired this topic, I want to go ahead and hear your thoughts on it first.
I think one of the most interesting and sort of unconventional pieces of advice I can give to people is to make sure you know what the distinction is between you and your persona. And I always mention this in the live streams that I'm a part of. Like Alzamar McKinney, that's who I am. And Uber Hikari is a persona that I have online. So that distinction is very important. And one of the things I would say about that distinction is make sure when you create your persona, you should always take the most fascinating parts of your personality and parody them, caricature them. I mean, that's how I created Uber Hikari. That's how I created the nerd nigga. I took an aspect of my personality that was somewhat nerdy, and I just took it to the nth degree. I made myself this arrogant nerd online when I'm not really like that in person. And that was the most fascinating aspect of myself. to be this person who could say outrageously arrogant things, but still be likable and still get my points across in a very intellectual and critical way. So that's one of the first pieces of advice I would say for people starting a YouTube channel. Immediately start to think about the distinction between yourself and your persona.
All right. Yeah, I would definitely. I do want to comment on that just real quick. Now I know that I don't think I've necessarily created a persona for myself on YouTube per se, but I have had people, and this actually came up recently, a few months ago, where people have distinguished the way I portray myself online versus in person. Now, the thing is, I know that my subscribers in the past, my viewers in the past, always appreciated, and there have even been some of my friends who have appeared on my channel that says like, no, Larry's not too different. Because like the whole talking with his hands and being very animated, so many people, especially when my channel first took off, thought that I was performing. And some of my friends were like, no, Larry kind of like, if you get him started in a conversation, like, yeah, he'll do the hand thing and, you know, be all energetic and whatnot. But what I want to comment about that is, if you do not intentionally create a different persona for online, I do want to give this advice, and I think it's very important. Make sure you make a very clear distinction between what you do and who you are. And what I mean by that is this. It is very easy for us as creators to get wrapped up in what we do in terms of whether or not it's a passion or whether or not it's a job. And here's the thing, all of us, when you put yourself on camera, you're pretty much opening yourself up to the world. And in doing that, just like any artist, you're opening yourself up to scrutiny in whatever form it may take.
Yeah. Yes.
But the important thing to keep in mind is the scrutiny you might experience, the criticism you might get online, that is not a reflection of who you are as a person. It's a reflection of what you have put online. And there should be a difference, and there needs to be a difference. And it has so much less to do with the people giving you said criticism and more to do with you as a creator. Because here's the thing, and this I do speak from personal experience. If you let the scrutiny get to you, if you let the criticism get to you, if you let all of that get to you, it will start to eat away at you. And what it will do, and the worst thing it can possibly do to you, it will make you want to give up doing it in the first place. No one other than yourself, and I want to make sure I'm very clear on this, nobody other than yourself has a right to dictate to you what and how and why you should do YouTube. Nobody has that right.
Right.
For you to decide to get up and keep this in mind too, it takes an extreme amount of courage for somebody to get on camera and to do what we do. It takes an extreme amount of courage for us to do that, and it takes an extreme amount of courage for anyone who decides that they want to take it upon themselves to do that. That being said, here's the thing. When you put that camera on, whether you're putting on a persona or whether you're being yourself, you are fulfilling an obligation and you are fulfilling a role. And that is whether that's as a critic or a reviewer or a vlogger or whatever it is, you are putting on the hat of a YouTuber. I just want all of those people watching this to keep in mind that what you do as a YouTuber, so the OAW Commander-in-Chief, that's only a part of Larry Williams, but that is not the whole of Larry Williams. And just keep those things in mind. for you guys watching. Ugo?
How am I supposed to follow up with that? How am I supposed to follow? You do that to me, Larry. Well, I gotta go last. No, that's real talk. Real talk. I actually needed to hear that some years back. But anyway, my advice to YouTubers, and I actually have a video on this on my channel. My advice would just basically be know what you're doing. Right? But put it like this. You don't want to be just another schmuck in front of a camera talking about the movie you've seen. There's a dozen guys doing that, so what? You know, what is it that you want to say about the movie that someone else hasn't said, or what can you bring to the table that somebody else hasn't brought to the table? You know, I try to throw a lot of comedy in my videos, and I try to talk about movies from a writing perspective, because a lot of people look at movies with the way they're directed and acted. I'm a writer. I love writing, so I talk about the writing in the movie. And I don't just criticize a movie. I talk about what could have been better, like what they could have done better as a writer. So when I was doing things like the best of the worst, I wouldn't just say, oh, this movie sucks and here's why. I say, this movie sucks, here's what could have been, here's what they could have done to make this movie better. And I feel like that's the difference that I offer to things. You know, it's not like just saying, oh, this is good, this is bad. No, why? You know, that was my biggest thing. Like, why does this suck? Why is the acting bad here? And I took other performances that they've done and kind of tied them together and said, okay, this actor was good here, and they were bad here. That's probably the director's fault, or that's probably the dialogue. So whatever the case may be, know what you're talking about, be able to talk about it, and just, you know, put it out there. And you could be talking about whatever, makeup, t-shirts, you know, the design of a cell phone. As long as you know what you're talking about, somebody's gonna watch, somebody's gonna listen. So, you know, just know what you're saying. Know what you're saying. Be passionate about what you're saying, and just know it. Like, even if you're wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. You know, it's like if that's your opinion. If you think that Planet of the Apes, the Tim Burton one, was a good movie, say it. Say it with as much conviction as you want to say it. You know, people will disagree with you. I'll be one of them, but say it. You know, and stand by it. You know, own that.
Movie, that was a good movie.
Right.
All right.
Well,
my boy Rick Baker did that makeup, bruh. That was a good movie.
The makeup was good. I'll give you that. The makeup was good. But, like, you know, because a lot of people will do some gimmicks on YouTube and things, and it's like, nah, you don't want to do that, you know. But basically, even if you decide to do a gimmick, because I know Larry did the Harlem Shake one, you know, but that was just something he wanted to do. It was just fun, you know. He just jumped in on that. That was something he wanted to do. So it's like, don't follow trends, don't jump on bandwagons just because everybody's doing it. You know, be real with yourself. Do you? You know, right. As long as you're doing you, as long as you're authentic and people can tell you're being real, people will watch, you know?
I don't know. I think I think this is something that Larry was beginning to touch on when he was talking about how, I mean, even if you're not, you know, going to create an online persona, just remember who you are, what you bring to the table. I think it's also important to understand that YouTube has changed so much since I started doing this. I mean, it's really become a business now, in the sense that TV is a business. And so I would say that now you can't just be a reviewer. I mean, you can't just be another reviewer. You can't just do what everybody else is doing. At this point, you have to look at it as a form of entertainment as well, right? So I'm not just a reviewer. I'm also an entertainer. And so I will take creative steps as an entertainer that I might not necessarily take as a reviewer. And so I always have to think about what is going to rile up my audience. And for this, I know this might be a little bit controversial, But to me, it's always a good thing if you're in the business of entertainment is to be polarizing.
Yes,
I mean,
no.
you
Again,
do
that shit on purpose. You do that shit on purpose.
Of course I do it on purpose.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I do want to point this out. I'm gonna point this out because when I saw the different, what it means to be a reviewer video, when I saw that sucker got like over 4,500 hits in like the first day, I'm like, he said something about somebody. I know he said something about somebody. And sure enough, I'm like, see that Hikari, man. I was like, there you go again, catering to controversy.
Of course. That's what I do. But I do it for of course I do it for views. I mean, this is YouTube. I mean, we're all here to get views. So let's not like pretend that we're not doing this for views. And I have no problem with people who do things for views. I mean, to pretend as if we have some sort of nefarious intent because we do things for views is just naive and ridiculous. So that's number one. But number two is I've watched and listened to a lot of sportscasters like Stephen A. Smith, like Skip Bayless, even Rush Limbaugh. Like Rush Limbaugh is great at being polarizing because he knows that even if he splits the audience in half of that audience is still going to rock with him, even if the other half doesn't. Like Rush Limbaugh said, there's millions of dollars to be made in 50% of the audience, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that being a lightning rod, being controversial in some way. I mean, like even to this day, I have people saying like, damn it, I can't stand when Uber Hikari says the word nigga. Well, that's me. That's me. That's a part of my persona. That's a part of me subverting the word. And even the people who don't like to hear the word, if you know I'm saying the word, you must be watching my video. So, right? So there's some value in being controversial, and there's some value in being a lightning rod, and there's some value in being polarizing.
Yeah,
I would say only if you can take that heat, though, because some people can't take that kind of heat.
Take the heat. Give me the heat, baby.
That is true too. I've seen people run off of YouTube for that. Very few, but it's funny because the thing is, like one of my homeboys, my boy Dragknot, who's appeared on the channel a few times, like same thing, like his videos is loaded with that cannon of controversy, but he does his he started doing it more so like calling out people, and then it turned into more of like a debate forum sort of deal. But it's still controversial. It's still controversial, but it works for him. It works for him, and he's able to knock out. My boy Dragknot, he went so far that not only was he going to call out other YouTubers to come on his live streams and debate them, he went and sought out experts on what it was they're debating. He ended up, look, I'm telling you, he ended up getting college professors and engineers and biologists and all types of people that got letters behind their names to come on his live streams for the sake of his debates. And it ended up creating some really good content. So yeah, that sometimes it works. Sometimes
and that's
it works.
The key too. You can't just be polarizing. Like you can't just be polarizing on some bullshit. At some point, it's going to return to the content, and you always want that foundation of content. And that's what I think I bring to the community. I mean, I came into the community when reviewing was just sitting in front of a camera talking about what happened in the chapter, or what happened in the episode. When I came in, I mean, one of the first videos I created was called Uber Hikari's YouTube project. And I laid down the gauntlet. I said, look, there's going to be an intellectual divide in this community. I'm on one side. All you other motherfuckers are on the other side. Come at me, bro.
Right. I think we're forgetting rule number one: consistency. Be consistent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
Be
there's
consistent.
there's the basics of doing YouTube, and I think for the most part, most people know the basics. You know, be
You'd be
consistent.
surprised. You would be surprised.
Really?
You would be surprised.
I mean, the thing is, though, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I wasn't trying to bring up consistency since all of us are coming back from hiatus.
I mean, look, you should only be consistent if you think YouTube is a job. I don't think YouTube is a job.
Oh yeah, well, that's
what
true
I mean
too.
is, what I mean by consistency is that the quality of the material. Yes, consistent schedules, but like consistent quality of the material. You can't have like a high def video and then your next video some like cell phone.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't have a video with a title and then like, oh yeah, anime review.mov. You can't. No, that's not what's out in the street. So like, have a standard. Set a standard for yourself and try to meet that standard with your videos. So not just consistency with how you upload, but consistency with what your content looks like, so that people know, oh yeah, I'm watching a Larry Williams video, I'm watching an Uber video, I'm watching a Ugo video. Have that kind of standard. So that people know, oh yeah, this is Ugo.
Yeah, I'll throw this out, and this will probably be the final thing I'll say in terms of tips for new YouTubers. Here's the other thing too I want to point out. I've always said, I used to say on my channel, my goal for YouTube was to inspire, to educate, and then finally to entertain. And the thing is, the one I feel like people really should focus on a lot is the education part. Here's the thing. You want to know one of the easiest ways, and regardless of what anybody tells you, no, I don't think anybody will deny this as one of the easiest ways to get recognized on YouTube. Do you guys know? Did I lose you guys?
No, I'm waiting.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Be considered an expert. Whatever it is that you're doing on YouTube, if people consider you to be the expert authority on that subject, you will get recognition. You will get recognized very quickly. So here's the thing. One of the best ways, I mean, even if you are an expert, okay, number one, you have to share that information. Not the fact that you are an expert, but you have to share with people what it is you are an expert in. What is your expertise? And if you aren't an expert in whatever it is you're doing, become one. And it's no, and look, I would tell you, it's no harder. It's just, a library away. But let's face it, you're online. One of the best tools that you can use in order to educate yourself is right at your fingertips. That's how you're on YouTube in the first place. So what I'm saying is this. If you are a film critic, okay, read other film criticism. Model yourself after a film critic that's done it before or one that's on YouTube. Model yourself after your favorite film critic on YouTube. And even if you don't model yourself after them, maybe just look at them as an example of how you want to differ yourself from them, or maybe do something that they're doing, but then change it to fit your own way. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to do criticism, study up on criticism, or whatever it is you're critiquing, study up on the subject in which you're critiquing. So if you want to critique film, study film. If you want to critique anime, study anime. If you want to critique music, study music. Do those sort of things. Same thing. Let's say you're a Let's Player, right? Okay, well, there are multiple things you can do in order to become an expert Let's Player. Either A, become an expert at the game you're doing, or B, become an expert at the commentary you're giving. And one of the best ways to do that is model other commentators, other Let's Players. What are the things they're pointing out in their Let's Plays? What are some of the things they're doing? And I'm not talking about just doing gimmicks. I'm talking about modeling someone else so you can either duplicate the success that they have or find out what it is that they're doing that you like, mimic those things, and then change how you do it based upon the way they do it. And all of this comes from study. Study the material that you're reviewing, study the way in which you're reviewing it, study other reviewers, study other vloggers, this is than the other. You're into makeup tutorials, look at other people's makeup tutorials, study up on the products that you're tutoring, that you're giving the tutorial for. Same thing goes with software. I mean, you have it, whatever it is, make yourself an expert on what it is you do.
Right. I think that's a very important point. And I think what's interesting is that everybody in this stream is committed to study in some form or another. I mean, the reason why I ever did YouTube videos is because I was like, look, I'm studying this shit in college. Like, I mean, in a very real sense, I mean, I'm an expert in literary criticism. I mean, at least in some forms of literary criticism. Like, I mean, I do this shit. I mean, and this is why I think it was so important to me to include the part in my video where I talked about intellectual authority and intellectual legitimacy. Like, my gripe is with people who try to make it seem like they're experts in something when in reality they're not experts at all. And this is something very interesting because I think I was thinking about Seven Sawyer Major, or Sawyer 7 Major, whatever his name is. I forgot his name. And this guy is an expert on the low. Like, this guy's actually studies literary criticism. He's actually a writer himself. And you can tell just by looking at his videos. I mean, and so I think it's very important to claim your intellectual authority and to claim your intellectual legitimacy. I mean, I'm giving you some straight dope shit. Like, I'm not just out here bullshitting. Like, I'm giving you shit that I've studied in college courses. I'm giving you shit I've studied in, even some graduate courses I've taken. Like, I'm giving you the straight dope straight from college. And so for me, it was important to make that known, right at the beginning. And at the beginning, I faced some resistance. I had people telling me, you taking this shit too seriously. It's not, this stuff doesn't warrant that type of criticism. It's just anime, it's just manga, it's just cartoons. And I was like, nah, you're not about to claim my intellectual space. I'm not gonna let that happen.
And see, and one thing I want to chime in on, something that you said is that the idea of claiming your intellectual authority. This is what I mean when I say make yourself an expert. Everybody is an expert at something already. That's the thing. Everybody is already an expert at something. And so what I'm saying is, if you're thinking about becoming a YouTuber and you're thinking about the type of content you should do the thing can't nobody else do it the way you do it. When I came on YouTube, I started out reviewing anime and manga because that's what I was well versed in. But you want to talk about expert, dude? I went toe to toe with people debating shonen anime and manga. All right. And back then, there were very few people who could hold a candle to me debate-wise because I knew my shit. Dude, just the other day at work, one of the kids asked me, like, "Oh, Larry, have you watched Naruto?" And I just looked at him like, "Have I watched Naruto?" And I'm like, "Oh man, you didn't open up a can of worms, youngster."
Don't do it to him, Larry. Don't do it to the kids.
Let me learn you something real quick. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, it's not. And here's the other thing too. It's not a competition either. And what I mean by it's not a competition of, it has nothing to do necessarily with what somebody else is doing. It's more about flexing your muscles, flexing your expertise. You know what I'm saying? Bringing the thing that you're best at to the forefront. It's more about self-expression and self-validation than it is pinning yourself up against somebody else. Because here's the thing. I know for a fact, Just me and Hikari. There are certain topics I can't hold a fucking candle to Hikari. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. And I'll tell you something right now, just with Ugo, like the first arena episode I ever saw Ugo do, I knew for a fact, okay, this cat knows rap battle. And I can't hold a candle to that. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not about a competition, but it's this idea that we all are experts at something. All right. And you know, things like the things that make collaboration videos work so well. I mean, one of the earliest, I mean, Hikari, one of your first videos was the collab we did, the Rurouni Kenshin review. What makes collab videos and collab channels and things of that nature, these group projects, so endearing and so exciting and such a pleasure to work on is the idea that all of the experts are bringing their expertise to a group effort.
Right. It's the exchange.
Right. And the thing is, you know, back in the gap, YouTube, I'm not seeing it so much these days, and it's kind of disheartening and it's a little bit discouraging. Back in the gap, YouTube used to have a sense of community. I feel like in some instances we're losing it, in others it's being reinforced in ways we haven't seen before. But for those starting out who may not necessarily know what it is they want to do or where they fit in, stick to what you know best, and you'll find the recognition, you'll find the community, you'll find your way. Just highlight what you're an expert in.
Right. Stick to what you know best and stick to what you do best.
Exactly. So Ugo, any final thoughts?
Nah, that's basically it. The reason why I switched over to blog is because I felt like I'm more eloquent when I write, and I can get more jokes in when I write, and I can keep writing consistently because at the end of the day, I'm a writer. So if you find out doing the video thing ain't for you, there's other avenues. But just like Larry said, as long as you know what you're talking about, other people will pick up on that, you know? So that's it.
Right. And one final word of advice, practice speaking. Practice speaking like your life depends on it. Practice it. Stand in front of that mirror and talk. Because for some people it comes natural and for some it doesn't. And when it doesn't come natural, it's awful to watch.
Yeah.
Basically, watch whoever you watch on YouTube, figure out what works for them. Like, okay, this person did this. I really like what they're doing there, and figure out how to make that your own.
Right.
Basically.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah. So, and the final note I'll have on this is something that you hear all the time, but it really is important. Just have fun. Just have fun doing what you're doing.
Yes.
Because the thing is, you know, like Hikari pointed out, he said, you know, YouTube, the way it's changed and the way it is now, it's very much job oriented. The demands of running a YouTube channel, I mean, it's very demanding, which is the reason why we've all taken the hiatuses we've had, is because we've had to use our time for other endeavors, you know, careers and things of that nature. But I feel like more so than ever, it is so easy to get burned out on YouTube now. It's so easy to get burned out if you're concerned about the views or if you're concerned about the money. You know, if you're concerned about, you know, the comments and this is that. I mean, all of these things, you know, professionalism is important. Consistency is important. You know, for better or worse, when I started out in YouTube, when I started taking YouTube seriously, I did very much have a business mindset, a branding mindset. You know, all of these things are very important. But at the end of the day, the only thing that is going to keep you turning on that camera is if you enjoy doing it.
That's right.
If you,
Amen.
If you let yourself,
I just want to say this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
no, I just want to say this as somebody who, 1, has never seen a dime from YouTube, 2, barely gets any comments, and 3, barely gets any views. The second it starts feeling like an obligation, you should stop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. I stopped.
Temporarily.
Yeah.
Temporarily. I'm planning on making a comeback. We'll see, but because I got too much going on right now. But the thing is, I've never seen a dime from YouTube. YouTube has never paid me anything. My views are like in 2 digits still. and my comment section is pretty much barren. But the point is, the videos back then I was making, I was having fun doing it. And I stopped doing it when it started to be an obligation, when I felt like, oh man, I'm not getting views. Oh man, I'm not doing it. Stop caring about that. Just do it. Just do it.
And,
do what you love.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you stop making the videos, you'll really be able to tell whether you enjoy it. Because later on down the line, you'll be thinking about, damn man, I want to make a video right now.
I know, dude. Dude, when I think it was even before I hit you guys up about doing this new segment. Me and Ugo was talking, and Ugo was like, Larry, dude, we gotta hop back on YouTube, man. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I know, man. I'm feeling it too. Man. So, but yeah, you know, if you're starting out as a new YouTuber, most definitely keep in mind, just have fun with it. You know, having fun and keeping that in mind about why it is you're doing what you're doing. It has so many benefits that you won't see immediately. They'll come later down the road. You know, your enjoyment, your passion, your enthusiasm. You can't fake that. You can't fake that. You know, there are Oscar-winning actors who can't fake that. So, and so that's really important. But that's going to go ahead. That's going to wrap up this Advice Corner video segment. I want to go ahead, thank all of y'all for watching this live, all 103 of you for watching this live, and thanks everybody for tuning in after the fact. Like I said, this segment will be up on Tuesday. Make sure that you tune in every Saturday, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time for the live recording. And then if you miss out on the live stream, don't worry, because each segment will be uploaded, and Advice Corner, that'll be uploaded on Tuesdays. One final note, please feel free if you need advice on anything that we know well enough to give advice on. All right, because there's some things where it's like that's above my pay grade. I can't do that. But for the most part, anything within reason that we might be able to help you out with, please feel free, send those Advice Corner topics to otakuassemble@gmail.com. Much appreciated. Yeah, so that's going to wrap up not only this Advice Corner, but that's also going to wrap up our first debut of OAW Late Night. I want to take this time once again to thank everybody watching. Wait, what's up, Hugo?
No, I just said woo woo.
Oh, okay, right.
Are you asking me to do the outro now?
Oh, no. We're closing up now. We're closing up now. So once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and I want to thank my guest stars, Ugo Strange. That now it's
once again, it's Ugo Strange, two-time savior of the world, AJ Styles of the internet, thestrangeverse.blogspot.com. Find me or I will come find you.
Dude, man, you put me in such awkward positions. I have to go after this man every time. So, yeah, this was your boy, Uber Hikari, a.k.a. the Nerd Nigga. Just brought you another video with Larry and Ugo Strange with no frills, just the analysis. Textbooks and body bags for everybody.
Textbooks and body bags. And as always, finally, once again, back from hiatus, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, reminding once again, feel free, tune in every Saturday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. We'll be doing the live recordings of OAW Late Night, Discussion of the Week, and Advice Corner. And if you miss out on the live recording, remember, OAW Late Night, the segment will be re-uploaded to the channel on Sunday, Discussion of the Week on Monday, and Advice Corner on Tuesday. Currently, I'm also working on some other uploads that should be up later in the week as well. And with that being said, it's been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'm signing off, and until next time, peace.